let me just show you what exactly the map of Gaza at this point of time looks like. These are the numbers. This is what Gaza looks like on a very simple Google Maps image. Now, this is the Erez border. This is the northern place. Many of the pictures you're seeing of Israeli troops are from up here. Now, here at this area is an open area where a lot of rockets are being fired from. Then you've got Gaza City, one of the big urban centers of Gaza. Then you've got a small ridge area, a small mountainous area near the sea over here. And then you've got much bigger cities down south like Khan Yunis and others. So this is Gaza. This is what Gaza looks like from space, from a satellite. It's 41 kilometers long. It's about 12 kilometers broad at its southern tip. But the sheer size of Gaza means that an invasion is going to be difficult. Because remember, the Hamas will be massed in these urban clusters, like Gaza City, like Khan Yunis in the south. They have their positions and will be ready for any kind of invasion. Now let me show you what the ground invasion might look like in numbers. Gaza has a total area of 365 square kilometers, viewer. 365 square kilometers. It's 41 kilometers long, 12 kilometers broad at its widest area. It has a population of 2.1 million people massed into that small space, making it one of the most densely populated areas in the world. The first ground invasion in the last 18 years since Israel pulled out was in 2009. That particular invasion lasted for about 15 days before Israeli tanks rolled out. Then again in 2014, that was the second ground invasion. That lasted about 19 days before the Israeli tanks finally rolled out once again. Okay, let's go across to India Today's Gaurav Sawant, who's been reporting fearlessly from very close to the Gaza border. Gaurav, just a short while ago, you showed us live those amazing pictures of Israeli tanks rumbling towards the Gaza border. Are these all preparations for the ground invasion, Gaurav?
Shiv, prima facie, it would appear so. The manner in which the artillery is booming virtually non-stop since the time we got here and have been reporting, the artillery is actually pulverizing Hamas strongholds across. You hear the F-16s in the skies, you hear them, and you actually literally see the explosions go off across at the Gaza Strip. See, you heard another explosion and you hear another one from that side. So multiple gun positions here and all of them firing almost simultaneously at the points, Shiv. You understand, artillery pounds a place before either the mechanized infantry or armor or infantry move in. So it's basically pulverizing all strongholds. And these, according to one of the officers we spoke to, were intelligence-based operations that were being carried out. Shiv, another aspect on day 6 that the IDF are making very clear that they also want to decimate the maze of tunnels that are being used in Gaza by the Hamas. In fact, Gaza, we were told, is like a 2-tier city. On top, there are civilians controlled by the Hamas, and then under the surface, there is a maze of a city, a maze of tunnels, which is operated only by Hamas, and all the aid money that flows in is only being used to build tunnels to spread terror in Israel. Some of those tunnels, incidentally, Shiv, also come across where terrorists have infiltrated in the past to carry out those terror attacks in the kibbutz and small community shelters and settlements very close to the fence. So we are barely a couple of kilometers from the fence where we are, where this gun position is. And these guns are pounding virtually relentlessly. Perhaps an indication, Shiv, that this is step 1, and step 2 would be the armor columns, those Merkava tanks, those armored personal carriers going in, incidentally, with a large amount of ground forces, not just poised to go in, but also hold the second line of defense here. So Israel, having learnt its lessons from the 6th incident, from Saturday's incident, is now putting in place systems to ensure Hamas will cease to be a military threat or a terror threat to future generations of Israel. Shiv, that's the word we are getting from the Israeli forces.
Gaurav, thanks very much. Stay safe, my friend, and we will keep coming back to you. What we're seeing behind Gaurav now, as he's been reporting since early today, are the war machine elements all moving into place for what's going to be the most difficult phase of this operation. Gaurav, thanks very much for that. Let me take you inside Gaza now to show you just a very broad sense of what the weapon comparison is going to look like. Remember, Hamas cannot compare with Israel's power and might. But for every Merkava tank that the Israeli army sends in, experts believe that the Hamas will be able to deploy, for instance, advanced Cornet anti-tank missiles that they've sourced from the Russians. For every Iton armored vehicle that the Israelis send in, the Hamas will have Konkers anti-tank guided missiles to defend against that particular element. If the Israelis send in Nemer armored vehicles, the Balse-2 North Korean anti-tank guided missiles could find utilization by the Hamas terrorist group. Israeli infantry are expected to be sent in large numbers. Hamas also has its foot soldiers, as we saw during the October 7th attack. Take a look at also the Israeli special forces, some of the most feared special forces in the world. They will be sent in as well. The Hamas will be looking at their own tactics, including drones. If the Israelis use bigger drones or smaller drones for any kinds of operations, the Hamas will probably try and use some of its rudimentary air defense equipment to bring down those drones.